Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to
How Lithuania is bracing for brutal Russian invasion as war plans against Putin revealed. That's what Lithuanian forests look like.
We need a
This is
level
in
of paranoia.
Yeah.
It's better to be paranoid than occupied. Why would you mine something if you believe that Russians would never attack because Americans are defending? We see that happening somewhere else, right? We know, okay, that has been very clear. But when it happens to you, would you know it, that this has started?
On Vladimir Putin's doorstep, a tiny nation of 2 million people are drawing up war plans for a possible invasion. As Russia's
2
threat
million?
multiplies across Europe,
Yeah.
Lithuania is on edge.
Used to be
Officials in
3.
Lithuania warned that Russia is ramping up
I
GPS
remember
jamming
3.
operations against.
Yeah, it used to be 3.
I remember 3
Now
because
it's 2.2, I think.
it was the size of like Miami population. This is how you were telling me initially.
Yeah, I think now it's
Yeah, like 10 years ago, you was like, population
in
of Lithuania.
2000 it was about 3 million.
3, now it's 2.2.
Because we even have a song 3 million. It's called 3 million. But let me see Lithuania right
Wow,
now.
that's a big jump. Like, in what's next 10 years?
Oh no, it's 2. Oh, so they're exaggerating. It's 2.
Oh.
You're right. It's 2.9 million.
Yeah, because I remember you telling me that 3.
Oh, so they're exaggerating then. Ways to call 2.9 to round down to 2 million. That's way
Are they
more
talking about
exaggerated.
this place?
No, Kaliningrad.
Kaliningrad.
Nah, they're well Lithuania. Yeah, they're way exaggerating.
Oh.
Fact check.
Against the country, with pilots reporting more than 1,000 disruptions in June. It marks a
For
massive
whatever reason, I
increase,
thought 2.2. I don't know. Maybe Latvia is 2.2.
2.2?
Yeah.
with 585 incidents recorded in May and 447 in April. And security chiefs have identified the Russian enclave of Kaliningrad, which shares a border with Lithuania, as the source of the interference. But
Wow, you're
Lithuania's
really
former
close
Minister
to
of Foreign
Russia.
Affairs, Gabrielus Landsbergis, believes his nation is putting in the correct measures to push back against Putin's forces.
I'm terribly proud that last year we reached 3.5% of GDP towards defense. So for us, it's not an easier thing to do rather than for UK or France, right? So it's still very difficult to convince your people that you're not going to spend the money on I don't know, police salaries or teacher salaries or infrastructure, but basically you're going to spend that on German tanks. People have to understand why you're doing this with their
on top.
Yes, it's German. Yeah.
money. So we are doing that. Then there are, a slow, I mean, a bit too slow for my taste, a push to actually think about the defense lines on the border between Lithuania and Belarus. What I would like to see is, wherever possible, new forests being seeded. I mean, that you would plant trees, because we still have a lot of open space, which would potentially be used for, for tanks to roll over. I would like to see an actual defense line being built with mines, ditches, infrastructure such as dragon teeth prepared. So basically we are taking this really seriously, because it works in 2 ways. First of all, shows to the enemy that we're serious, right? So we are taking the threats.
Estonia border. Okay, Latvia, they're doing it at the border too. They're preparing.
I don't know what Latvia is doing. You only show Estonia.
Seriously. All the defensive measures cannot be considered escalatory, because it's basically just us building a stronger lock. And it tells our allies that what we are preaching and what we are asking our allies to do, we're doing first at home. That is one part. The second part, which then a bit goes outside Lithuania, but I think it's very important to mention that it is, Lithuania has an agreement with Germany about the deployment of full combat-ready brigade in Lithuania starting 2027. So we will be seeing 5,000 German troops, in full gear,
That's
full
a lot.
equipment, deployed and ready to fight in case there is any sort of a emergency.
Do you think many Lithuanians understand how to speak German? Like, how do they communicate?
No, English, I would think. Yeah, I think mostly English.
Military emergency in my country. I would say that this provides a strategic difference for a country being without this contingent and with, because it is a major deterrent. Russians have to take this into consideration, that they would be attacking not just Lithuanian troops, but German troops from a get-go. The basic scenario, under pretense of which NATO is preparing for a potential escalation with Russia, is basically something what we have seen used against Ukraine. Big, powerful force assembled on one side of the border, threatening to attack, maybe some cyber events, some hybrid events prior to that, and then invasion starts. So this sort of scenario for NATO, in NATO's minds, allows enough time for NATO to prepare and assemble. Basically, you would have 200,000 Russian troops, but nominally you would probably expect 400,000 NATO troops to be assembled in Lithuania to deter, and in case Russians still are crazy enough to try that, this amount would basically push them out. I've always advocated for having in mind different scenarios, not a Ukrainian one, but
okay, if Russia does not invade, do you think they have a force Kaliningrad to fight to start something like that?
Wait, force Kaliningrad to fight?
No, like Kaliningrad, do they have troops to fight?
To fight who?
Or to start with Lithuania
By
or neighbor.
themselves, not without Putin's
I
approval?
mean, with backup, but if they were to start it.
Well, that's what they're saying. That would start through Kaliningrad.
Ah, I see.
Do they have means of doing that?
Yeah,
I mean,
because they seem to be. It's not a wise decision because they're kind of like boxed in on all sides.
I don't. It's hard to say. I don't think
def-
so.
it's
Because
def-
I'll if there's no way like they would allow like tanks and stuff go through trains because it has to pass through Lithuania.
Yeah.
So no, they're not getting that.
Yeah.
If they use ships and like kind of like hide it in ships and deliver it, through ships, I guess it's possible. I don't know, but yeah, like they're not getting like tanks and equipment through trains. Like that's not passing. So
But they do have
I
a
think
military staff.
yes, they do. I think they might have what they're saying. They might have enough to cut off that Suwalki corridor, but that would just kind of cut off the NATO troops for help. But Russia would still have to attack through Belarus. I think. I don't think they would be capable of attacking through Kaliningrad because that's I don't know.
Specifically tailored to the Baltic states, and which would look something more akin to an extended hybrid event that would not, or would be very difficult for us, for Lithuania or any other Baltic state, to trigger Article 5, because it would be a very difficult scenario to explain to our Western allies that, okay, this is an attack. I was asked in several conferences to elaborate on these scenarios, and one of the scenarios that I've used is a scenario where a train, one that passes through Lithuania almost daily from Moscow to Kaliningrad, is full of Russians, especially now Russians going to Baltic Sea side for vacation. Imagine if that sort of a train basically stops for some malfunction, a cyber, technical, whatever, mechanical, inside Lithuania. People start texting, we're in trouble, we need some help, we need assistance, and Putin would say, well, I mean, we need to send just a tiny detachment of border control people, of border guards, accompanied maybe by the police, in order to assist those in the train. It all escalates in a matter of hours. So the train stops in hour 2, T+2, you have a contingent already entering in Lithuania. Then you have a question, should we shoot?
And that's an interesting scenario. Never thought about that. That's how it starts. Yeah, he's right. To NATO, you couldn't claim that it's an attack. I think that would be like a good cover up. Never thought of that. Very interesting.
Should we basically stop them? What sort of a thing should happen? And then the Putin would say, well, I mean, the police and border guards are in danger. They need to be accompanied by soldiers. And voila, basically you are on a very fast escalation ladder. And my point in all this is, so we go to Brussels and we say, look, we are under attack. And I imagine a big group of our allies in the West would say, well, are you really? Maybe you're just overreacting, right? It's a normal civilian rescue situation. Just help Russians with whatever you can. Don't shoot, don't escalate, just take it slow, maintain a cool head. And maybe we are convinced by that. And then next thing you know, basically we lose at least partially the control of all of our territory, or at least part of it. So that is the principle which I'm always advocating. Let's think not about the scenarios which we are accustomed to, which were easier for us to determine and deter that this is actually happening, because Russians will definitely not provide us an easy scenario. So for these hybrid type of scenarios, it is very difficult to prepare, because the first you have to prepare the political class even more so, rather than the military. So that means that the people in Brussels, in Washington, in London, and anywhere else in Warsaw, Vilnius have to be prepared more than the military. That means that we have to be ready to meet Russia's challenge, because if we don't, well, the military might not know what to do in case that happens.
The war is always avoidable. But it's up to Russia now and Mr. Putin to decide which path he wants to choose.
Gabrielius Landsbergis.
This is the first time. Can I see the spell? Let me see. Gabrielius
Landsbergis.
His last name, it almost sounds German.
Landsberg. Kinda. I add is to the end. Landsberg. Maybe not even German, like a Swedish.
Yeah.
Landsberg. Yeah.
There's a sort of mentality in all this, because the belief in
Lithuanian-fied.
I can see, Landsberg. Yeah.
transatlantic deterrence. Basically, in simple words, it means that Russians would never attack Americans or something that is protected by Americans. That was so overwhelmingly strong that basically you don't need any other plan. And I will always say, okay, fine, I also believe, I still believe that Americans have an interest in safe and secure Europe as well as Baltics, right? But what if, for example, there's an additional conflict in Indo-Pacific? What if China decides to attack Taiwan at the same time to divide the attention, and Americans are just unable to be with us at the time of need? And for example, or they would be delayed 2 weeks, a month, 3 months. What would be left of our country if we're just depending on a single point that Americans are here to defend us? I'm not even going to considering that they are changing their posture to a point where they are changing whether they would defend Europe, because at least during the NATO summit that has been denied and confirmed that Americans are going to continue defending Europe. So I think that this is the main issue. We need to tackle this and start thinking about these what if scenarios, which are not necessarily very well planned at this stage, and might be very dangerous to us in NATO.
Interesting video. Yeah, I get why Lithuanians are concerned about it. It's always, but
has this always been a fear? Because it is kind of awkward for Kaliningrad.
I think it started maybe about 05, 06-ish. I think when I was like a child, I don't think it was like a fear. I don't remember it being a fear. Because they even like at some point because they used to have conscription, but at some point they removed it. So to me, I think when they joined NATO, the fear kind of went away. They're like, oh, NATO. But I think like at some point, maybe it was 08, at some point the fear kind of came back. And then they, restarted the conscription again, like in mid 2010s. So that's when the conscription. Why it came back, I don't exactly remember. Maybe because Putin came back into after because there was Putin, then he put his puppet Medvedev. Maybe after Putin came back, and that was kind of like, oh wow, this guy's gonna serve again. So there's kind of no rules what he can do. Maybe that's the trick. I don't really remember. Yeah, let's see these comments. As Poles, we remember that Lithuanians never turned against us until the very last days of the Commonwealth. Unlike many others who switched sides when it most mattered. The period under the Lithuanian originated dynasty acknowledged for its relative effective governance, common sense, and the ability to manage diverse interests both internally and externally, reflecting the very purpose for which they were chosen. In contrast, the actions of foreign kings over the crown combined with our Kokomami? What is that? Kokomami, Polish ideas, led to the Commonwealth's demise, standing in stark opposition to this early approach balanced governments. For this reason, and more important because Lithuania's security is directly tied to our own, Poland's commitment to defend Lithuania against Russian aggression, but most important, even if NATO hesitates.
Oh wow, so you have a response from Poland.
Lithuania's intelligence. Cheers to Lithuania. We have Canadian troops stationed in Lithuania. Yeah, I don't know.
I said Lithuania needs to entrench the
entire border area. Yeah. I don't know, like if Russia was to do something, I feel like they would start with Estonia though. With taxpayers' money, already doing that. That's exactly what they're doing.
So I wonder how much I wish they showed them how much coverage they have.
That's a big border with Belarus. Yeah, they have a big border. Yeah, I don't know. What my parents have been saying that in September or so, Putin is gonna have some sort of troop training exercise near Belarusian border. So that's causing a lot of unrest. And I'm assuming that's why we're getting this video right now. So like about a month left. That's what's causing unrest. I don't know.
My theory is that most of these fights, they come close to around winter time.
I don't know. But yeah, I guess on my logic is if they're already announcing the exercise like months in advance, I don't think they're trying anything, because I feel
But
like
that could be part of the cover up too, because they're announcing.
the occasional, you know, plane is gonna come in the third.
We didn't intend that. This was
You
an
know,
event planned long ago.
you know, like how you play like soccer in your backyard and the ball goes over to the neighbors. It's like, oh, unintentionally. So that kind of,
Yeah.
oh, a couple, maybe a bullet, maybe a rocket land in Lithuania. You know, you could be right.
Guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord. And share as much kindness as possible. Bye, guys.